Hi everyone, and thank you for watching. Right now, I just arrived here in this city. It's called Kampot, Cambodia. I was actually here a while back, so I decided to come back because I like the ambience, the atmosphere of it, and I think it's good enough to help me do the things that I'm focusing on trying to do. And I love the area. The weather is fantastic. Lots of sunshine, really strong sunshine. So, I really love and appreciate that. And right now, at the apartment that I just moved into. I'll be here for about a month, and it's a different place. It's not for everyone, but it suits my needs, and it's really unique for me. It's really great for me, but everyone won't like it. I love it though. But let me show you what it looks like in my surroundings. Let me flip the camera. So, this is where I live. This is where I live, and that's the entrance. And I'm renting a motorbike for a little while, and this is how everything looks. Just pan the camera, and if you follow down that way, there's more apartment, hotel rooms or whatever, and yeah. So that's that. Let me flip the camera back around. So I haven't said it yet, so I'll say it now. I love you all, and thank you for watching. This video, I'm gonna talk about astrology as it relates to the body. A lot of people don't know and understand that, astrology doesn't just affect, day-to-day happenings in our lives. It doesn't create our reality, of course, because we have free will, but it does resonate energy that we have to move through and navigate through, and we can choose to follow, go against, or go with. And it's all energy, but ultimately it's about free will. It also describes how our bodies work. There's different areas of astrology that correlate to and directly align to how the body works. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. A lot of you probably already know about it. Like if you talk about medical astrology and things like that, then you would get into this. You would start looking into this when you're trying to find out or understand what you can do now to slow down or help your health be better in the future, or reduce problems or eliminate problems that you've created through the way you've been living in your life. So I make this video in order to show you that you have some degree of control over that by learning this stuff, and you can find out what your strengths and weaknesses are for your body that you were born with, and also you can learn about the strengths and weaknesses of your body that are happening today based on the planet transits that are happening right now live. You're born with a certain type of strength and weakness, and you're also inheriting different strengths and weaknesses every day based on how the planets move. So there's a static health, and there's a health that just keeps moving all the time, perpetual movement of health. So I'm going to kind of talk about those two things. We're going to talk about each sign, and I'm going to talk about the effects of the planets that affect different areas of health. This video will in no way be comprehensive. It's just really a very, very general overview, and if there's a pretty good response and demand for this video, then I'll go even deeper. So let's get started. Let's begin the video. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to a website for astrology in your birth data, and you want to type in your birth data. For example, tarot.com. There's plenty of other websites that you can go to, but I'm using tarot.com as my example. So you put in your information. After putting your information, you're going to come up with a birth chart, which looks something like this. This is an example of a birth chart. I'm going to pull this up, and what you want to look at firstly on your birth chart is look all the way over to the left side. On the left side, you look at the first house. In the first house, there's two signs. The first sign in the first house is Gemini, and the second sign in that house is Cancer. So those two signs are going to tell you, like, the part of your body that is going to be really focused on throughout your life. That's going to carry a pretty big impact, whether that be positive or negative, throughout your life. So in order for us to understand this, we need, like, if we look at it, use this as an example, Gemini is the rising, we need to find out what Gemini represents. And also Cancer is the next sign in the first house, so we need to find out what Cancer represents. So let's do that. Yeah, so I just talked about, the first house. The first house is all the way over on the right. So let me show you another example before I move on. Here, this is a chart of the houses. There's 12 houses, and if you look at this is just basic plain old astrology about your life and stuff like this. But we're not focusing on life here. We're more so focusing on the body and health and stuff like this. So for this, you want to, I'm just showing you the houses, but you want to disregard this, what you're looking at, this information, because we're talking about health. I couldn't find a health one, so I just used this one to show you what the houses are. And the next thing that you want to do is, remember, we saw that in the first house we had Gemini and we had Cancer. So the next thing we want to do, we want to know what Gemini and Cancer mean. So let's take a look and see what Gemini and Cancer means. Well, let's actually go through all of the signs first, because everybody is going to have different signs in their first house. I was just using that one as an example. Now, if you look, Aries is related to the head. Taurus is related to the throat. Gemini is related to the hands, the arms, and the lungs. And remember we had Gemini in the house. Gemini rising, and then Cancer was also in there. Cancer is related to the stomach and the breast. So for that person, whoever's chart that was, the hands, the arms, the stomach, and the breast are, going to be kind of a big deal for them throughout their lives. And in order to know which planet is going to have a big impact on them, it'd be good for them to find out what planet rules Gemini. And by knowing which planet rules Gemini, we'll know which planet has some really significant power on their health throughout their life. So let's take a look at this. This is basically the same thing as this, which I didn't finish, and I'll just go ahead and finish it. Virgo is the stomach. Libra is like the lower stomach. Scorpio is the sex organ area. Sagittarius is the hips and thighs. Capricorn is the knee area. Aquarius is the lower leg area, and Pisces are the feet. Now let's look at a more thorough chart. Here's a more thorough chart. Pretty much the same thing. Aries, the face from the nose up. Taurus, the throat, jaw, ears, mouth, thyroid gland. Gemini is the body pairs, lungs, arms, shoulders, and hands. Cancer is the chest area, stomach, breast, abdominal cavity. Leo is the heart and blood circulation and your back. Virgo is the intestines, gallbladder, pancreas, and spleen, the whole stomach area again. Libra is the hips, the kidneys, and the bladder. Libra is the scales. Keep in mind we have two kidneys, and Libra is all about balance. And balance organs are related to Libra. You got to pay attention to the trends and the signs that you catch. And next you look at Scorpio. Scorpio's reproductive organs. You have your where you release, and where you release stuff, and where you and the sexual and sex and release and stuff like that. It's related to Scorpio. Sagittarius is thighs and liver, sciatic nerve, and Capricorn is knees, bones, skin, skeletal structure, all that stuff that's related to getting old. And you'll see why that's so relevant to getting old in a real soon. And then you have Aquarius, lower legs, the lower leg area, your shins and the calves, that area. Then you have Pisces, feet, lymph glands, and immune system. Okay, so let's move along with this. Remember here we talked about the houses. You know, you have the different houses, and you know, depending on what signs in, you know, what house, you know, it tells you information about your health. And we talked about the first house being the main body, the main house for the body, and it can tell you a lot about your general overall body health. But here, you know, we have the signs. The signs are going to be aligned in the house differently for everyone, and it's going to here. If you look at this, it says Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. But it's not going to always be in this order for everyone. It's going to be in a different arrangement for everyone, and oftentimes you're going to have two signs in one house. And you know, this is how things happen in astrology for those of you that are not familiar with astrology. So now let's talk about the different signs and what they mean. I just told you the first house tells you a lot about your body, the main strength and main weaknesses of the body. Now I'm going to tell you what the main strength and weaknesses of each sign is based on the sun, the rising sign, the sun, and the moon. So I want you to think about your rising sign or your sun sign. You know, your sun sign, everybody knows their sun sign. Everybody knows that they're in Aries all the way through Pisces. So, you know, think about your sun sign. And if you know your rising sign, use the rising sign. It's probably more accurate. So I'm going to kind of read through these and give my input on it as I go through it if it's needed. This says zodiac signs and parts of the body. A complete medical reading will include influences of the sun, moon, and rising signs identified in a person's birth chart. As planets transit through the signs of the zodiac and the houses, they bring their own influence to the body. But we can organize from head to toe some basic information and characteristics of the 12 signs. So Aries is the first sign. Aries is associated with the planet Mars. It rules the head, eyes, face, brain, adrenal, supraadrenal glands, and pineal gland or third eye. Aries folks are susceptible to head injuries, headaches, such as migraines, sinus pressure, eye problems, exertion, and anger can contribute to ill health. So Aries should seek balance and calm. Helpful tip given Aries, you know, the stress-reducing pleasure of a head massage. So that's kind of the general things that an Aries person would have to pay attention to. One of the main things I have to pay attention to amongst many other things, because it's a whole complicated topic, and it's not just about that first house. It's actually a whole lot more, which we'll go into a little bit later as we proceed. So next, Taurus. Taurus, the sign of the bull, rules the neck, throat, ears, mouth, vocal tract, thyroid gland, target neck, strong or long, may be prominent physical feature. They often have vibrant, rich voices and musical learnings. Taurus may be prone to sore throats or neck strains. Overindulgence and tendency to brood over troubles may be at the root of disease. This sign, as well as Libra, is associated with the planet Venus. It's good to know what planet has an association with these signs, because they can tell you, give you more information about what's going on in the body if you know what the deal is with the planets. But we're not going to go that deep in this video, because I'm just giving you like an overview, a really high overhead overview. So next we have Gemini. Gemini, the upper body, shoulders, airway, lungs, arms, hands, and nervous system are governed by this constellation. Also known as the twins, Gemini is prone to carpal tunnel syndrome, anxiety, and lung disease such as pneumonia, pleurisy, and asthma. Nervousness and restlessness are the basis of many ailments. Mercury, the planet of communication, co-rules Gemini and Virgo. Next we have Cancer, the crab, associated with the mother goddess, rules the chest, breast, alimentary canal, stomach, and upper liver. Both men and women with this sun sign may have well-developed chests. It is not uncommon for them to have digestive or weight issues. Cancer is intuitive, emotional, and can cycle quickly through feelings influenced by the moon's energy. Illness in this sign often originates in the emotions. So keep emotions under check, Cancers. Leo, the lion, big-hearted, gregarious, and brave, rules the heart, spine, upper back. Leo may have cardiovascular challenges like poor circulation or back pain due to overexertion. When the sun, which rules the heart, is in Leo, watch for inflammatory conditions. Think of Leo as a lion heart who must follow passion and joy for good health. Keep in mind, all of these signs are ruled by a planet, or a planet that has a really big impact on it. And for Cancer, it's the moon. For Leo, it is the sun. And for Virgo, it is Mercury, which you'll see in Virgo and Gemini. Actually, Mercury rules those two signs. Virgo rules the digestive system, intestine, pancreas, and spleen. It's said that Virgos go with their gut in decision making because of their instinctive intuition about their bodies. They are the most health conscious of the signs. They can be picky about their diet and prone to diabetes, stomach acidity, and other digestive upsets. And again, the ruling planet is Mercury for Virgo. And Libra, a good sense of balance is a characteristic of the sign of the scales. So Libra is a balance sign. It's about balance, and it's going to be associated with balanced organs, which you'll see. Libra rules the kidneys, which is a balanced organ. You have two kidneys: skin, lumbar region, endocrine system, and buttocks. Associated with the planet Venus, Libra is conscious of beauty and positivity. Libras often stay youthful looking longer than other signs. Most disease arises from nervous exhaustion. Great gift idea for Libra, soft, silky lotion. Again, Libra is ruled by Venus, just like Taurus is ruled by Venus also. Next, Scorpio. Scorpio, known as the sexiest sign. Scorpio rules the reproductive system, genitals, bowels, and blood. Interestingly, Scorpio also rules over the nose, detecting the subtle pheromones of sexual attraction. This intuitive sign is known for its ability to transform and regenerate. Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Mars, the planet of action, passion, focus, assertion/aggression, and sexuality. Many modern astrologers consider Pluto the planet of power, depth, loss, and transformation, a co-associate. So Scorpio is ruled by the planet Mars. It's also ruled by the planet Pluto. Next, you have Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the archer rules the sciatic nerve, hip, thighs, pituitary gland, and lower liver. Sports injuries tend to beset these restless and energetic explorers, so be sure to stretch before heading out on that hike because of the association with the liver. Sagittarians should limit sugary drinks and alcohol. Watch for gout, rheumatism, sciatica, and accidents. Your workouts pay off in gorgeous gam. Jupiter is your planet of luck and wisdom. Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter, which we'll see pretty soon. Capricorn, the sea goat is linked to the knees, joints, skeletal system, and teeth. A tendency towards fractures and knee injuries mean those born under this sign should get plenty of calcium. This discipline, Capricorn's affinity with hierarchical organizations and structure, is echoed in the protective function of the skeleton, ruled by restrictive and melancholy Saturn. So Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. Capricorn's ills are often rooted in inhibitions. A helpful tip would be ask before you give a Capricorn a hug. And next, you have Aquarius. I'm in Aquarius rising, so I can kind of vouch for whatever, or not vouch for whatever they're going to say here. Aquarius, the water bearer, rules the joints, circulatory system, calves, and ankles. Aquarians may suffer from varicose veins or injuries to the lower extremities, especially the Achilles tendon. Glucosamine, fish oil, and turmeric help with joint health. Uranus and Saturn rule together in Aquarius. Because this sign has a highly sensitive nature, nerves can be a root cause of illness. So I'll talk a little bit about Aquarius because I am an Aquarius rising, and Aquarius it rules the ankles and the lower legs, and they even said the Achilles tendon. And check this out. Lately, I've had some issues with my Achilles tendon but I've been doing lots of running lately, actually the past couple of years, and my tendons are really getting stressed out. So, I'm doing extra things to strengthen my tendons so that I don't get tendonitis, or so my tendonitis can go away. So I'm really, really working hard to strengthen my tendons in the weight room so I can run more. And Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, so I have to kind of pay attention to Saturn and find out about Saturn things and where Saturn is in my chart to uh, by focusing on those things and helping them out, then I lower the burden on the things that I'm having issues with, such as my Achilles tendon. It's probably just not just Achilles tendon, it's probably something else that's making my Achilles tendons manifest with the inflammation or the soreness that they have in them. And Aquarius is my rising sign, and my sun sign is Pisces. And it says before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter ruled Pisces. So this association is literally up in the air. So what they're saying here is that Jupiter is the original ruler of Pisces, but they discovered Neptune, so now they think Neptune's the ruler. So a lot of people say that Jupiter and Neptune both rule Pisces, so they use them both, but they're kind of not sure about which one carries the most effect and power over this sign. The feet, toes, lymphatic system, and body fat are associated with the sign of the fish. Avoid bunions and calluses with well-fitting shoes. Warm socks will deter the cold and flu Pisces is prone to. In appearance, sensitive Pisces may have soft, fleshy faces. They need to guard against obesity as they age. A self-care tip: take a walk, then enjoy foot massage. So I am an Aquarius rising. I just told you about my Aquarius stuff, and I am a Pisces sun. I have 3 planets in Pisces, a stellium, which I'll kind of talk about the significance of that a little bit real soon. But Pisces rules the feet, and if you've been following my channel, I've told you about issues that I've had with my feet, and I have to really pay attention and really take care of my feet. I actually try to stay way ahead of the game with my feet and just try to have super stronger feet than average than the next person. I really pay attention to that because I know it's possibly a weakness for me. It's something that I have to really focus on because Pisces is in my first house. Aquarius is my rising sign. So those 2 parts of my body I have to pay attention to. I have to keep them really strong and ahead of the game. So that's the information about the signs. We already talked about the signs and how the signs are associated with the body. Now I'm about to talk about the planets and how the planets are associated with the body. Now, of course, there are dynamics of how the planets affect the signs as they move and circulate around the sun, but that's way beyond the scope of this video. This is just a real simple video talking about how the signs and the planets relate to the body, just so you just have that general idea if you're curious about it. So I'm just going to go over this diagram as best as I can. If it's a little bit off, I'm going to improvise as best as I can based on what I already know in regards to this stuff already. So look at the head. Remember, the head is associated with Aries, the sign of Aries, and if you remember, the ruler of Aries is Mars. So Mars is you could say Mars is associated with the head, just like Aries is associated with the head because Mars rules Aries. And then next you have Venus. And remember, the throat was Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So the planet Venus is it's strongly connected to the throat area in the lower jaw area. And then you have Mercury. Remember, Mercury is not Mercury, but if you remember, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Gemini was directly tied to the arms and the lungs and the hands and the shoulders. And Mercury rules Gemini, and it also rules Virgo. And then you have the sun. The sun is, remember, the heart area is Leo. So the sun governs Leo. Sun is a ruler over Leo. So you could say the sun has a strong association or tie with the heart. And then you have Venus. Venus governs the kidneys, the bladder, the veins, among other things. And remember, this area is Libra. This is Libra area, and Venus governs Libra, just like Venus also governs Taurus. which is the throat area. And then you have Virgo. Virgo is governed by Mercury, just like Gemini is governed by Mercury. And so Mercury governs the nervous system, digestion system, pancreas, gallbladder. And then you have the moon. The moon governs Cancer. And Cancer rules over like the chest area. And also it rules the stomach also. So, Cancer is the stomach and the chest area, but mostly from what I've learned is the chest area. I see chest area every time I read over this stuff. This is the first time seeing it talk about the stomach, but I guess you go through stuff and you learn. And then you have Pluto. Remember, Scorpio is the private area and the elimination organs, and Pluto governs Scorpio, just like Mars also governs Scorpio. So Pluto, it rules over the sex organs, elimination system, and Mars plays a big role in that too, because with Scorpio, Mars and Pluto both are rulers over it. And then you have Jupiter. Jupiter is a ruler over Sagittarius, and if you remember, Sagittarius is the thigh area. It governs the thigh area, so the thighs, liver, the blood, the hips. And then you have Saturn. Saturn is the knee area, and you remember the knee area is Capricorn area of the body. And this planet also governs things like your bones, your teeth, skin, knees, nails, hair. All that stuff that makes you look young or makes you look old. And Saturn is the planet of maturity and reality checks, and it is definitely an aging planet, a planet that can age you or preserve you depending on how you're living. And then you have Uranus. Uranus governs Aquarius, and remember, Aquarius is the lower leg, but Aquarius is also governed by Saturn. Aquarius has two rulers. It has Saturn as its ancient ruler, and it has Uranus as its modern ruler. And when I say ancient and modern, Uranus was discovered last, so it's modern because it was discovered last. Long time ago, ancient. Then you go with Saturn, because they've always seen Saturn in the sky for the longest of times, and it rules over things like your calves, ankles, circulatory system, pituitary gland. That's a new one that I haven't seen. Pituitary gland. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but just using the chart for reference, it's doing a good job for me at the moment. And then lastly, we have the planet Neptune. And the planet Neptune governs the feet, and the feet are governed by Pisces. And Neptune also governs the lymph system and the pineal gland. But the feet are not only governed by Neptune; they're also governed by Jupiter, because Pisces has two rulers. Its ancient ruler is the planet Jupiter, but its modern ruler is the planet Neptune. And remember, Neptune was recently discovered, so we call it a modern ruler. So that's the body in relation to the planets. Very brief, very straight to the point, but it meets the needs of what I'm trying to do at the moment. I'm going to wrap the video up by giving you a real life example of I'm going to talk about myself in this portion of the video to give you some reference so that you can kind of see how this works in real life, and you can take what I talk about in regards to myself and you could kind of compare it to your own situation. But if you take a look at this picture here, this is my first house. And in my first house, I have 4 planets in my first house. That's called a stellium. Stellium is when you have 3 or more planets in one house, or actually one sign. I have 2 signs in my first house. If you look here, I have Mercury in Aquarius. So Aquarius is the rising sign. And then if you look here, here, and here, I have Pisces. I have 3 signs in Pisces. So there's definitely a stellium in Pisces, and there's 1 planet in Aquarius in my first house. So let me talk about my first house a little bit. Remember, the first house is the head or the face, but also the first house is the body. When you think about just plain old regular astrology, the first house is the body. It's just you and your physical appearance. Physical appearance is mostly your rising sign, but in general, the first house is your body. And here in this example, let's talk about it a little bit. So again, I have a stellium in Pisces, and if you look at the green sign is the planet Venus, and I have Venus on the 2nd degree of Pisces. And when a planet is on like the 0, 1st, 2nd degree, something like that, the very early degrees, the effect is usually really, really potent. And Venus is kind of a giveaway or a gift planet, or a planet that kind of allows things to go on and be free. It's not a strict planet, really. So what I take this to mean is that maybe I have like addictions. Like if things feel good to me, I go with it, and maybe to extremes sometimes. And when I say addictions, I'm not just talking about bad things. I'm also talking about good things, because I go crazy with the exercise sometimes, and also I go too far with things that are not healthy for me. And I've learned that about myself, so I'm extra vigilant about keeping self-control about that after I learned it about myself. So that's what I take that to mean. That's just what I think based on knowing myself. And then I have the sun. The sun's the orange one, the red one. The red one, it's at 11 degrees of Pisces. And 11 degrees is not like something like a super potent degree or anything. It's those first and last degrees that are really the most potent. And there's 30 degrees in the sign. Now, I have the sun here in my body. So energy and expressing my energy, it's here in my first house. So I'm an energetic person, not really a sedentary person. That's what you can take from that. And then if you look at the darker red looking sign, this is Mars. It's at 18 degrees of Pisces, and the sun and Mars they're pretty close together. It's almost a conjunction, so those energies kind of merge. And the sun's a really energetic energy, Mars is a really energetic energy, and it's in my body. So very energetic, driven, competitive even type of energy with me in my body. So that's kind of what you can take from this by looking in my first house. Now if you look at the top green sign, the green looking sign at 19 degrees of Aquarius, it's Mercury. Mercury is like the nervous system. I think Mercury is a lower octave of Uranus, and Uranus is like electrical. So electricity is associated with the nervous system. So I'm guessing that Mercury is like a lower octave of that, and I think that's kind of me, like me expressing myself and putting the energy out. I think it's like a low electric type of thing going. So that's my first house, and first house is the body, and your things you got to kind of watch out for throughout your life. And you kind of learn something about me there by talking about it. You can kind of apply this to your own situation. It's my 8th house. I just showed you my first house. Now let's look at my 8th house. Now I know we're talking about the first house. First house is where you can see the main trends of your body. But I'm going to show you my 8th house because I think it's a good place where I could teach and show some things. It's full of action here, and I could kind of show you how some things work. Now here, if you look, I have a stellium in my 8th house. And in my 8th house, this Libra. So on 0, not 0, but yeah, 24 degrees of Libra, I have the planet Pluto. Pluto is a powerful planet. It's about death. It's about birth. It's about reform. It's about transformation. So it's very powerful. So big changes can go on wherever Pluto is. And I have Pluto in Libra. Remember, Libra is all about balance. Those balance things in the body. And Libra is a ruler over the kidneys. So because Pluto is here, I think I gotta stay extra vigilant about taking care of my kidneys and keeping balance in my body and doing things and avoiding things and doing things that support my kidneys and that type of thing. And if you look at 8 degrees of Libra here, I have the planet Jupiter and the planet Saturn. They are conjunct. That means they're perfectly aligned with one another. And these two planets, the planet Saturn is limitations. It's about being cautious. It's about saving everything and just being really careful. So, you know, it makes you be extra careful and cautious, and it pays off later. You get used to it, and you learn to live with less later. And then I have Jupiter that is conjunct my Saturn. Jupiter is about expansion and overdoing things, abundance, and even sometimes things working out even though you do too much. So these two planets contradict one another, or they oppose one another in like what they do. So these are conjunct, so they kind of cancel one another out. But Saturn has longer transits than Jupiter. Saturn's like a 2 or 3 year transit. Jupiter's like a 1 year transit. So Saturn's effects are longer lasting. So Saturn is the more powerful planet here. And also, if you remember, I just showed you that I have Aquarius as the ascendant in my first house. It's the first sign in my first house. So this is the ruler of my body. Whatever is the first sign in your first house, that's the ruler of your body. For me, it is Aquarius, and Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, I can assume that Saturn is the more powerful planet here. It's more powerful than Jupiter, and it's probably more powerful than Pluto here. But nevertheless, all three of these planets are very powerful and big players. So this house is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and I have to pay attention to these Libra themes in my body. And if you look down here, it says PX or RX at the bottom. That means retrograde. That means when I was born, these planets were moving away from the Earth instead of moving towards the Earth in terms of how the planets look when they're circulating around the sun. You know, the retrograde, it looks like it's separating. Direct looks like they're coming close together. But when planets are retrograde, in regular astrology about, you know, daily life and your life and stuff, when it's direct, it's things that happen early in life. But when it's retrograde, it's things that happen later in life. So here, all of these are retrograde. So what I take it to mean is that later in life, I will have to really focus on keeping all of these things under control and just really taking care of myself. I guess I should do that in the first half of my life, and it'll minimize these effects here. But you know, they're retrograde, which, you know, these things will really come into play in the second half of my life. And I'm middle aged now, so they're in effect at the moment. So I'm paying attention to it. So that's it. Okay, everyone, that's my video. And I didn't really teach you anything. It was more about awareness, kind of bringing something to your attention. Like I've just been paying attention to like the body and how it's affected by the heavenly bodies, planets and the signs and that type of thing. And you know, I'm just learning day by day as I go. And as I learn these things, I try to apply them to my life and make my life better. And as I learn this stuff, I bring it to you so that you can learn right along with me, and you know, we can just grow and evolve together. So I hope you enjoyed my video, took something from it. Once again, I love you all, and thank you for watching. You have a beautiful, wonderful morning, noon, even night, midnight, wherever you are in your part of the world. I love you all. You take it easy. I'm gone.